playoff injuries, they happen. 73, East Finals, Knicks and Celtics, John Havlicek. Shoulder injury, Game 3, misses Game 4. Return to play, what turned out to be a 7-game series loss for Boston. 88, Isiah, you know this all too well. Twisting the ankle in Game 6, you keep playing. One of the most gutsiest performances
Didn't you
ever.
drop 41?
3.
Distance falls short, Game 6, later Game 7 to the Lakers. But then 89, the injuries befall the Lakers. And then in 2012, this is Derrick Rose, game #1 seed, and against the Philadelphia 76ers, his fortunes change. Following season, Western semis, some say that was borderline, Patrick Beverley on Russell Westbrook. And then last season, of course, the Cavs.
Borderline.
First round, Kevin Love against Boston, shoulder ripped out, and then Kyrie Irving fractured kneecap. So again, we look back at all of these. It's not the first time, it won't be the last time, and you cannot always prepare for situations like this. You can scheme and you can X and O, but you just don't know. So I want to start with you, Greg, just about the Clippers, and you were saying that they're equipped to get through the emotional impact of losing superstar players like this. And isn't that the first step to get yourself emotionally ready?
Yeah, and I think having the strength of leadership with the veterans in that locker room will help. I mean, they still have a good basketball team. They just don't have a team that maybe can contend for a championship. Listen, when you look at what they've been able to do, Austin Rivers, J.J. Redick, these guys can play. Jamal Crawford, 6th Man of the Year. DeAndre Jordan's going to get more opportunities. And that's the way you're going to approach this. If I'm Doc Rivers, for my young guys, this is an opportunity for you to go out, excuse me, and make some plays. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. But they got to feel like going home, they're going to have an opportunity to compete at a high level. And the Portland Trailblazers are going to have a tremendous challenge, too, of having to guard against complacency now that those two guys aren't going to be out on the floor.
Yeah, and when you talk about injuries in the playoffs, that's why they say it's it's a marathon, not a sprint. And too many times, playoffs, championship series are decided by the team who's the healthiest, or won by the team who's the healthiest. And it may not always be who is the best team. You know, I thought in '88 when we lost to the Lakers, we were the better team. However, the Lakers won. They won the championship. I was injured. The following year, Magic gets injured. So injuries are part of the playoff run, and your team has to be built to prepare for that and sustain that and be able to overcome those type of injuries and win. Now, when your best player goes out, that's difficult to overcome. When you lose a Paul, when you lose a Curry, when you lose a Westbrook, those type of injuries to those type of players are difficult to overcome because they bring so much to the basketball game. But when you're looking at the Clippers now with Doc Rivers, the main focus when you lose your best offensive players, you got to circle the wagons and become a great defensive team. And I think the Clippers still have the potential to be a great defensive team in the playoffs. Not necessarily a good offensive team, but when you look at their personnel, they can still come out and defend at a high level and make it difficult for the other team to score.
Well, one of the things Doc was saying, of course they have to be good defensively, losing them, but he said we've had this motion offense that we put in with Chris Paul not being on the floor. It's involved other players. It's been effective for them. And plus, if you look at how they've lined it up now, it's going to be Jeff Green, Austin Rivers will start, and it'll still keep Jamal Crawford coming off the bench. So they will keep sort of that aspect of the rotation. How important is that?
It's very important. And you know, he's still got, Paul Pierce. He's still got wild cards. Again, not guys that you could rely on necessarily for the entire season, but for a 3-game series, which in essence is what you could be facing right now, all hands on board. And they have enough, I think, in terms of offensively. Jamal Crawford can go for 40 against anybody. So he can do it. I think DeAndre Jordan can have some opportunities offensively. Austin Rivers, they're going to have, I think, an excellent chance. That home crowd's going to be helpful for them. And remember, as great as Damian Lillard is, C.J. McCollum's been solid, this is still a young Portland team that's in a situation they've never been in before. All of a sudden now, they're the favorites. Now the expectations have changed. Now they're supposed to win. And not everybody handles that kind of pressure well. So I'm interested to see how the Blazers respond now that kind of shoe's on the other foot.